What's going on, good people, man? Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur. So I got my co-host Andre with me, and we got a special guest, Matt Lyles, with us. So, man, once again, the podcast is called First Generational Wealth Builders, where we're going to focus basically on dope entrepreneur stories that are centered around real estate, as real estate is one of the engines that we have used to build wealth. And so we want to have those conversations in front of you to empower you and basically build a community of just dope investors and dope entrepreneurs doing their thing in the city. So from that, man, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Got you. So, man,
Unexpected type.
Yeah, it happens like that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
hey, I appreciate you showing up like on the call too, man. I
No
appreciate it.
problem.
So, question for you, man, if you could introduce yourself to the people, like, who is Matt Lyles?
Just the dude trying to make it in life, really, with this real estate. I own Lyles Construction Group. We build new construction and we do rehabs. Right now, I'm not for hire. I'm only doing work for myself. That's all I've done, so far in this business. But, we're trying to level up. So
That's what's up, Matt. And if I can, you talked a little bit about when we were off camera. I put something out there and you agreed with it, but I want you to tell the story about the book, right? That's where I'm going. But I asked this question offline. I asked Matt, is a house to you like a canvas to an artist? Pick up from there with how you reacted to that, and tell us about the book that kind of helped you really get started in this whole journey.
So it definitely is. I mean, from an artist perspective, yeah, I walk into the house, it could look like, trash to everybody else, but I'm going to dissect it and figure out where I can do this and do that and just make it make sense for the modern family. Because, these older houses, you get a 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom. People these days, they're not trying to share a bathroom. That's just, it's just not, just not, they're not going to buy the house.
Yeah.
But people not going to be happy with the product. So, but yeah, he asked me about just coming into basic construction.
Right.
And I really couldn't answer the question on how it got started, but I came across an old autobiography that I wrote in 3rd grade. We had a school project where we had to write 3 different books, and one of them was autobiography. And in that book, I actually put that I wanted to build houses. So it's just kind of crazy how, how that worked out.
Spoken into existence, huh?
Yep.
And so that's key from an entrepreneurial perspective for everybody out there, right? It's not that you always start with this master blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you might start with writing it down in a book, and it takes you 10, 15, 20 years to come back and realize, wow, I've been working on this all along. I didn't know.
For sure.
So for everybody out there, don't be so hung up on trying to get it right. Sometimes it may just be jotting down an idea, walking away from it, and coming back and realize you've been living your dream the whole time.
Yeah, always.
Sad though, you got to put some action behind it.
For sure.
Just
For sure.
No question.
So since we talked about 3rd grade, that was a crucial time in your life, man. Tell us about what happened in 3rd grade.
So it was one of those things where I wanted kind of what the other kids had. Like I would say that my family, like my actual household, we probably were the breadwinners of the family as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, my parents kind of took care of all the other families within the family.
Gotcha.
Right? So
Gotcha.
we still weren't as privileged as we could have been. Right. So I just wanted more. I wanted the shoes, more clothes, other stuff that other kids didn't have. So I asked my father for $50 to go to the grocery store and get some candy and make some money. End up selling it, made like $100. Never did it again. But that's just kind of like the start of me wanting more.
Yeah.
And then that led into 4th grade, same situation. Couldn't get nothing that I wanted for Christmas. Whole Christmas list. We had the JCPenney catalog where you
circle everything.
That's old school right there.
Yeah. And I didn't get nothing, but I got a big box of Pokemon stickers and cards. I just took that whole box to school and sold it.
Wow.
I probably made like $500 in 4th grade. Like people just give me their dollars. Like,
yeah.
But
Gotcha.
I just I've been a hustler, just, you know what I'm saying, just grinding for wanting more for myself, you know, because I ain't want to depend on, you know, my parents for everything.
That's it. See, you call it hustling, right? In our community, we talk about it as hustling. One of the things that I really stood out to me in the last 2 or 3 years, I read the book on Steve Jobs. And in that book, it talks about how early on, because of where he lived, there was a lot of work going on to put people on the moon and try to get to space. So he had early exposure to computers and how computers were built. That early exposure, now we know, right, turned into Apple and all these different companies. Yeah. So what you call a hustle is really common with his experience, right? It's early exposure to an idea, and that early exposure, yours being entrepreneurship, his being computers. For him, it turned into product design. To you, it's turned into a construction company, right? Yeah. So I only bring that up because it's really important that those childhood dreams we remember. Because as we get older, those things can actually come to fruition. You talked about manifesting them, right? That's huge in our community. Sometimes we end up working and trying to find a job or trying to make ends meet. You got to do that. But beyond that, we can't give up on our dreams because that's where you start to really get into overtime.
Yep.
Gotcha. So when we was talking, man, time flew, and then you was just like, you know, you got a family business.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So essentially like before I was born, like 88, 89, something like that, I believe. My great uncle, my grandmother's brother, he started a professional beauty supply in Gary. And they ran that company for years, and then they went to retire, and basically some things happened with the company when they left the company to, I believe, his grandson, that things were kind of going wrong. So they came back into the company to take over. I'm 14 at the time, and I'm obviously looking for money. So I asked my grandma, hey, can I come work down there and just stock the shelves, just help out? She like, we really don't have the money, but I just pay you out of my pocket. I didn't care. I just want to make some money.
Right.
You know, so that kind of led into essentially me just taking over. You know, it turned into me learning payroll, learning taxes, learning how to order this product, learning how to drive a forklift to get the product off the back of the semi, you know, just all these different things just to keep the business rolling.
Right. Got you. Before we go too far, though, like, you know, how many people did the company, you know, have employed?
So at the time, it was really just me, my grandmother, and my great uncle, and then my grandfather, who was just really, again, just come 80 years old, just coming just to help out and deliver products because we delivered to the salons directly. And we had like, were they distributors essentially that service other parts of, like, some parts of Illinois, some parts of Michigan, some parts of Gary as well that we didn't cater to. So still had to manage those people as well.
So it was more of a B2B, business to business type of supply.
Yep.
Understood. Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So it was definitely going straight, going to basically another business for them to supply cosmetologists, you know, hairstylists, but then also us being able to supply these same stylists.
What was like, what do you think is one of the things that you learned during that time, in that period, from 7th grade to graduating high school? Like, what did you learn? I understood that you took up on the responsibilities, but what do you think, you know, you took away from that opportunity?
I think the biggest thing was how to deal with people. We had a lot of, you know, it's a lot of managing people's accounts, you know, people had credit accounts, and managing people's, you know, make sure that they're not messing up, you know, making us lose out essentially. But yeah, just learn how to just deal with people on a regular basis. You don't really get that, you know, in school you're dealing with your peers, just your friends and stuff, so you never get to deal with adults other than, you know, your parents and the people in your family. But to deal with people outside of that, it really teaches you how to just move in the world. You know, it just teach you how to have some type of character, you know, just how to establish relationships with unknowns.
So when you say credit accounts, I want to make sure we're explaining that for everybody. Can you break that down a little bit? What do you mean by credit account?
So credit account is essentially giving in-house credit to these stylists to be able to, you know, purchase their product, and then they can conduct the services and then pay for it at the end of the week.
Right. So for everybody out there, right, when you talk about B2B relationships, there are instances where you can work on credit with somebody if you've established a good enough relationship. They kind of have a good sense of how much revenue you're bringing in, whether it's direct numbers or just a general sense. You can establish those types of relationships. Those are important when you're trying to get to scale as you try to grow your business.
One thing that you said, though, that was key is it gave you the personal skills to actually deal and manage people and or deal with relationships, nurture relationships in essence.
Exactly.
And everybody today wants to be an entrepreneur.
Oh, I know.
But nobody likes to deal with people.
Exactly.
So what would you
customer service?
So what would you advise to somebody who does not like to deal with people but wants to be an entrepreneur?
The honest best advice is to hire somebody else that can deal with people. Just because a lot of people are truly stuck in their ways. You can't, you are who you are really almost from day one. It's not much that you can add on to a person, especially when it comes to dealing with people. Like some people just don't have the, they just don't have the
interpersonal
patience.
skills. Yeah, that too.
They don't have the patience to deal with people. So in the same token, you can actually, just have a conversation with people that you do know how to deal with it well, and take pointers from them and just try to figure it out. Because, people come to me all the time like, how do you sit in a room and just conduct this conversation with people that you don't know, like you've been knowing them forever. Yeah. And it came naturally for me, but at the same time, when I think about it and look back on it, it really didn't come naturally. It came because I was put in those environments where I had to adapt, so I had to, if I wanted to be successful at this, I had to talk to these people and make it make sense. And a lot of people, they only want the right now, If it doesn't happen right now, then it's nothing to them.
Gotcha. The instant gratification.
So, they want that real instant gratification, So when it comes to especially entrepreneurship right now, that's what everybody wants. You'll see how many people that you personally know that started a business and it was done in 2 months or 6 months. I'm sure you know a lot. Just because, because they want it to blow up overnight,
right?
Instead of putting in the work, whether it be with getting the product, managing the inventory of that product, dealing with people. The first person that pissed them off, they like, I'm not dealing with this no more. I don't want to deal with people, So to go back to the point of how to grow and to learn to deal with people, either you find somebody to do it for you, like you behind the scenes and they doing it on the front side, or you just have good conversations with people that are good at it, and learn from them.
Understood. So I have a question for you. Did you go to college?
I did not. I did, but not really. I went for like a semester.
Okay.
Then dropped out. Then went for a semester and dropped out. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, not really.
And the reason I
wasn't
asked,
really for me.
I asked because I was telling Andre in a conversation prior to you coming in, like, trades are where it's at right now. Like people are winning with the trades, and they are in essence, to an extent, depending on what trade you have, you're recession proof.
Yeah.
But like one thing that college teaches, as I have different type of businesses, what I've noticed is that, those who have went through college and completed, college teaches research, because you got to research. You got to find your way to complete your project.
For sure.
Teaches patience, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's a 4-year commitment. Completion. A lot of entrepreneurs like struggle completing this task. Yeah. Therefore, that's what stops them from getting to their end goal. And last but not least, it's just like, like the hard work that it takes. Like people like the dedication. And so,
sacrifice.
And there you go. And sacrifice. Yeah. Because those nights that you could have been out at the bar, you got to do some homework. So I say all that to say is today, if you have children, but you had a choice to basically, they could go to school for free or not, what would you advise them?
It's really a case by case type of thing. It just, I didn't go to school. Like I made it through high school. I was kind of BSing a lot, I probably realistically could have been valedictorian if I cared enough to really care about it, but probably from 4th grade, it was about making a way, and school just wasn't the way.
Yeah.
So that was for me. But at the same time, my sister, who went to the same school, was valedictorian, and she went to Purdue, and Purdue paid her to go there. She never came out a penny. You know, she literally got checks to go there. So it just depends on the path that I see them going down. I think it's just me being me. It's unlikely that my kids will want to go to college. But I mean, you never know. I'm gonna support them either way, and if I got to pay for it, that's why I'm in the position I'm trying to be in now, to be able to put them through that, so they don't even have that whole obligation of student loan debt and all those things.
I love it.
You know.
So what do you think in terms of what's next for you in the work that you're doing? Like, where are you trying to go? How big do you see what you're doing becoming with Lyles Construction?
So for me, there is no limit. I'm just put that out there. I don't really have a ceiling at all. If anything, I just want to make sure that I'm freeing up my own time. You know, so I have a project manager that he's with me every day, teaching him just so he knows my vision. Same with my main general contractor, just making sure that they already know. Like, I'm at the job site every single day, just to make sure they know what I want and what my vision always is. So that way, as we grow the company, they can start handling, these multiple projects, and then I can be, at home or on vacation, and I know that my vision is still
being executed.
So for me, the sky's the limit as far as flips. Like, I mean, we get to the point where we're doing 100 flips a year. I'm all for it.
I'm on the team, bro. At that point, I'm on the team.
You know what I'm saying? I'm all for it. But minimum requirements, like, I got to get to 100 rentals. That's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have
break
to
that down though. Like, people have to understand that. Why that number? Why not 99? Why not 101?
So, I mean, 100 just always the ultimate number. 100%.
Okay.
We get into, that's like unimaginable. For most people, and I mean, even for me, even still, like, if I start getting to 55, I might be like, okay, we there. We getting there.
Right.
But even still, right now, it's more that it's no way I'm gonna make that. But at the same time, that's the challenge to myself. Like, I gotta make that.
There you go.
So.
All right. So let me take it back a little bit. So basically, you're from Gary.
Yep.
What led you to move to Indianapolis?
I saw nothing coming in Gary. Like, nothing was there for me. Nothing was there for me to grow. And again, looking back, you don't really notice it in the moment. Like, you just kind of go with the flow and what you're doing. But yeah, there was nothing there for me. Something that my uncle, he retired from RJ Reynolds and came to be a part of my father's brother, came to be a part of the beauty supply. And he was saying something that he noticed was I just kind of disappeared, away from just business. And two of my best friends got killed and they died in a car accident that year. And then I also lost other friends to shootings and different stuff. And it was just, I was just kind of over it, So in coming down to Indianapolis, it started with me and him was, you got a phone book for Indianapolis, and I filled up the minivan and with product, started coming down here servicing the salons every weekend.
Okay. So you guys were expanding the family beauty supply into Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it got to the point where, we just gonna open up a store. Wow. I did that for a year, made good money that made sense to open up a store here.
So you have brick and mortar.
Yep, brick and mortar.
And at that brick and mortar, me as a stylist, do I come to you or are you still delivering?
Both.
Okay.
Yep. So we actually, the store here was actually a retail store as well as professional. So we had retail in the front, professional in the back.
What time frame?
This was 2011.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to follow that. Okay.
Yep.
Question. Sorry. You said you got to a point where you guys could establish brick and mortar. If you had to call out one thing that got you to that success, what was it? What was different about you guys that got you to that point?
It was honestly just the catering to the customer, being able to have all of their products available, and then getting it to them in a timely manner.
Okay.
But it still got to the point where I built up the relationships to where people would wait on me. I wasn't even in town, and they would wait till Thursday, Friday, Saturday to see Matthew and take care of them instead of them going down the street to, Cosmoprof or I can't even think of what.
That boy had,
boy
had that creamy crack.
Right. Well, but that's the thing, right? So
Yep,
you talked about it from a Gary perspective, and now I'm hearing the same theme here in the city, right? It was relationships in both instances.
Always.
Right?
Yep.
So you're delivering in a way that your competition is not by doing it hand to hand, bringing it to them. And that allows you to get your foot in the door. From there, you're establishing a relationship that allows you to say, hey, I've built up credibility. I'm going to come back next week. Just give me till next week.
Yep. Correct.
Question for you, man. What happened? Is it still open? What happened to it?
So in the beginning stages of it, I actually got a bone infection in my leg, in my femur, that started eating away at my femur. So I ended up having basically debridement surgery to, clean it all out. And then they put me on crutches. While I was on crutches, just because it had ate away so much of my femur that my leg would break just from walking.
Wow.
So ended up, I still was running, still had the business going, where I had one of my friends coming back and forth, from the Gary store, bringing product here, still making my deliveries. The van broke down on the highway. So me, even with on crutches, whatever, I get in my car, I drive, because I actually went back to Gary so my parents, my mom really could take care of me, because, I had IV antibiotics every 8 hours for 2 months. It was like a real process, and I really couldn't do it by myself. And I didn't have anybody here to do it. So I was living here, but I didn't have anybody here to do it. So I hop in my car, I come down on crutches, bring my medical supplies with me to do it over the weekend, just to get the vehicle off the highway, because, again, I'm the boss, so I got to, it's not that easy to take care of business when people don't know what to do. Right. So while I'm here, it's December, snowing. I'm walking down the sidewalk with my crutches, and my crutch slipped into the, how the grass just a little bit lower than the sidewalk, my crutch, so just reflex, I put my leg down, it shattered. So that ended up me breaking my leg, which then pushed back to open up, it really didn't push back to open up the store, but it had us hiring more people than we expected. We were kind of paying them too much as well. And then by the time I came back, we just started in a bad space and, never recovered. So it just went from there.
What's the next step after that?
Next step after that, we closed the store. I was somewhat still delivering, but I kind of fell back from it. And I went to work at Best Buy.
Got you. Which Best Buy?
Castle.
Got you. So I worked at 231 over there on 38th Street.
Okay, cool.
Back in the day.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy how me and the guests always have like similar
Something
jobs.
like that, yeah. I didn't work at Best Buy.
Got you. What department you work in, bro?
So I started in home theater, went to Magnolia, which is the best thing ever that happened to me was going to Best Buy, by the way.
I told you that.
So why do you say that, though? Why was it the best thing to happen to you?
Because I had the small business knowledge and understanding, and then I went to the corporate type of world of Best Buy, so then I could apply both sides, and I just made it make sense all the way around.
I love it. So
you
this is
learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If you pay attention. The average person probably doesn't, but if you pay attention, you really can learn a lot.
I want to pause there. I hear a lot of people that are entrepreneurs look down on corporate work, and corporate workers that look down on entrepreneurship. But here, both of you are saying you got valuable lessons from your corporate experience as you look at how that carries over into entrepreneurship. So for everybody out there, be careful who you're taking that advice from, right? Because it may not always mesh out.
What I was telling Dre, though, prior to our conversation here was that I really got my business acumen from there.
Yeah.
Like you could put there's so much that goes on, so many departments.
Oh, yeah.
And like every department has a goal, but there's one common goal too, though. But then like the monthly meetings, the way they did their KPIs and everything allowed me to then understand when I came in the hair to really understand like, how to break down my goals and get to that volume. Yep. So like it was just like that taught me a lot, and it's just coincidental that you had the same experience. So how long were you at Best Buy?
6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I went occasional seasonal last January.
Okay.
So January 2020. And
Got
then
you.
they actually, because of all the COVID different stuff, they actually just X'd out all the occasional seasons. So I was really an employee up until a month ago.
So you was just using a discount, bro.
Oh yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, crazy.
Was there anything after Best Buy as far as just working?
I mean, while I was at Best Buy, I also worked at UPS. Wow. Again, store closing. I got to make ends meet. I got to make it make sense.
Right.
And I got to keep, just keep being me. So, I'm Best Buy 12 to 9, UPS basically 12 to 7.
So this is like pretty recent then. A year and a half, COVID?
Nah, not UPS. I was there for a year maybe, and that was 2013, 14.
Okay,
yeah,
got you.
So but Best Buy is that was 6 years.
So where did real estate come from?
That's where I was getting to.
So it kind of started with, like what really put me into it was Erica's sister wanted to, Erica, obviously.
That's his
That's my girl.
His girl. There it is.
Say it right now.
Yeah. I had to let him do that.
So
I wasn't gonna mess that up.
Yeah, so we lived in it's a subdivision that's full of cul-de-sacs.
Okay.
So there was a house at the end. Her sister wanted to move down here. She wanted a house like ours, not big, not small, just right, just something that makes sense. She wanted to move down to Indy from Gary. Erica saw this piece of paper in the window and was like, "You should check out that house, just see what that paper is." So I go look at it. It's a auction paper, and the house I looked up the property. I do my research. It's on me on auction.com. So I go on auction.com and I bid and I get it.
Hold on. There's some steps in between there, bro.
Yeah.
All right. So you saw the paper. It's on an auction.
Yeah.
So did you Google this? What was the step that the initial steps that you took to discover the auction? Did they have it on the paper?
So, it was on that sheet of paper. Just that it was going up for auction, and then I just went on probably Zillow maybe, or Realtor, one of those realty sites. And it tells you that it's going to auction as well, but it'll tell you where it's going to auction at.
Okay.
So it's at auction.com. So I go to auction.com. I make an account. It's right there.
How much was that house going for?
The house
starting bid.
I don't even remember. It was probably like $30,000.
Okay.
I ended up buying it for $60,000.
Okay. So you bought that cash then?
Yes.
All right. So, if you don't mind me asking, did you have a savings? Did somebody lend you the money?
So savings. So I actually had 30, and my father went half with me on the rest to get to the 60.
Got you.
And it actually turned out to be such a perfect situation that the house needed no work. I moved it. She ended up not moving down actually, but I ended up renting it out for $1,000 a month, and I didn't do anything but put the appliances in.
So boy, you be skipping up. Let me go back. Let me go back. You going straight for the head.
Hey.
All right, so check it out. So you got it. Pops went half with you. Did you have to do title search? So to make sure that the property didn't have any liens or on it?
I didn't, because I didn't know anything about that at the time. Luckily.
So you probably should have.
I should have, definitely, but I didn't know. I was just trying to get the house.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get it for my sister, essentially.
Right, right.
So I didn't even, that wasn't crossing my mind.
That could have hurt
even know
if it would have went the wrong way.
It definitely could have.
Do your title searches, people.
Definitely. Yeah. So then you bid on the house. Was there a competition for the home? If you bid 60, was it aggressive?
It was definitely back and forth. Yeah, it was a lot of back and forth.
Got you. Did you have a ceiling of your bid, like your max bid? Did you have that in mind?
It was 60.
Oh,
yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
So had it been 6,100, it was gonna walk on you. You was gonna let it go.
Yeah, probably so.
Got you.
Probably
So
it's
okay.
hard to come by money at the time.
Got you.
Not,
So on auctions.com, that's an online bidding system. So tell us about like that process, because everybody doesn't use auctions.com. So tell us about that specific process, like step by step, what you had to do, and then what's the auction like?
So now it's completely different. It's almost non-existent, just because there's so many entrepreneurs, in the world now, that everything is more so like location based. Like they don't even acquire properties to be able to auction them on the website anymore, because stuff goes so fast to, you know, whoever just out here, you know, somebody's kid that who daddy gave him $2 million to go do whatever. But the process back then was essentially you make a login. You didn't even have to show proof of funds. You make a login, you start bidding.
Now, you don't have to show proof
that.
of funds, but like, so let's say, for instance, we go downtown to the sheriff auctions. If I turn in a cashier's check saying that, you know, it's $60,000, that means that I could only bid up to $60,000
exactly.
on that online system.
They didn't have
like,
that.
But what if I didn't have the money when I win the bid? Though? Was there a penalty?
You would be penalized. Yeah.
What was the penalty? Do you remember?
I do not.
Got you. Sometimes here they kick you out for about a year or so.
Yeah, for sure.
Got you.
You was just all lucking it, huh?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Good timing.
I didn't. Yeah.
Timing meets opportunity.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Nice.
Again, I just looked it up, saw that it was a possibility to make it make sense, and as long as the money was there.
What year was this?
2015.
Got you. So that was like basically your first acquisition.
Yep.
All right. So you didn't have to do anything. You got a renter in there. Did you manage it yourself?
Yeah. Yep. I still manage my rentals right now.
Oh, Brian, they be calling you about the toilets at midnight?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I might be bougie, bro. I can't do it.
Yeah, nah.
You know, I'm gonna pay that 7%. Keep that.
Yeah, nah.
You need that, huh?
Yeah.
I ain't mad at that.
right
How many
now.
rentals do you have currently?
4.
Got you.
Actually, I'm selling one right now.
Why you selling it though?
Mainly to help the neighborhood that I'm building up, as far as the comps, appraisals, and all that go. But also because I just want to get out of that particular property.
Got
It
you.
was the first property that I ever did a full remodel on, and I'm not happy with the work as it is, as years are passing, you know. So I just want to get out of it before it becomes a real hassle.
So,
you know?
so basically, you've gotten better at your craft.
Definitely.
Got you. All right. So now I'm understanding that you got your first acquisition 2015. You're working at Best Buy and UPS.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So tell me about your second acquisition.
So the second one was the house that I'm in the process of selling right now. What I did was, again, I paid cash for the house. The house was still worth $120,000. So I went with my father and got a cash out refinance.
So
Mortgage on it.
So okay, hold on real quick. You acquired it at what price though?
I acquired it at 60.
60. So then
Yeah,
what was the
first
ARV?
house. So again, it's a rental property, so they still, it was no remodel. It was just a cash out refinance.
True, but if you got it at auction, you got it underpriced though.
Yeah, at 60. The price at 120.
Got. Oh,
Yeah,
you said
yeah.
that. I apologize. I missed that. So when you refied, basically you refinanced the property, but you took cash out.
Correct.
So you refinanced at approximately 75%.
It was like 80% at the time.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. 80%. So 80% of 120. We looking
I'll
about.
do math in public.
That's funny. Got you. You probably got out of there $95,000 or so.
Yep.
So basically, you from that property, first property, basically, like, got it and got paid like a flip in essence,
Yep.
because you
And I
basically got the difference between 60 and 95,000.
And I took on basically a $700 mortgage, and the rent is $1,000.
Wow.
So I'm still making money on the property, you know, and getting my money out.
But one thing that people do focus on when we talk rentals, a lot of people just focus on the cash flow. Lots of times they don't understand that you're currently from that property getting cash flow.
Yep.
You're building equity as somebody's paying the mortgage down.
Yep.
You're getting tax benefits from the property.
Yep.
And depending on the neighborhood, you're getting appreciation in the value of the property.
Sure.
So
In today's time, that same property is worth like 150.
boom.
You know.
So you could refinance again, technically.
Exactly.
And but you don't want to do that.
Nah.
You just want to go ahead and get rid of it and get rid of the problems. All right.
So that's the first house that I bought at auction. So the money from that cash out leads me to the second house.
Right.
You know, so the second property was essentially it was a duplex. Needed, it was 2-bedroom, 1 bath on each side. The bathroom was in the kitchen, just super weird, super strange. and I had this money to obviously to shop with, and I'm looking around trying to find something. Can't find anything for the longest, and then I end up in the neighborhood that I'm in now by finding that duplex. Ended up having one of my guys, he wanted to go half with me, just in real estate in general. And yeah, we knocked it out, got it done, but it definitely was a lot of learning lessons.
Tell me about some of those lessons, man. That's what we need to. Yeah. What did you learn in that project?
The biggest thing was labor, not understanding that. Just
the repair cost.
The repair cost, yeah. I mean, you think that it's going to be this, but then when you bring in, jackleg type guys that don't know what they're doing, you got to bring in somebody else behind them to do it, and somebody else maybe behind them to do it again. It was a lot of double and triple labor, on this particular property. One of the biggest things that I learned was from a water plumbing standpoint. And a lot of people don't know this about old duplexes. If you have a property, a duplex is, 50, 60 years old, it only has 1 meter, which means those tenants are going to have to split that water bill. And me, of course, I like to do everything right, so I couldn't have that. So I paid one plumbing company to split it, but they didn't do it right at all. Not even close. So that was like $10,000 that was spent just for no reason. So then when I bought the actual water sewer company out, that was another $10,000, to get it done right. So now you have that double labor where you should only spend 10, but you spend 20.
That hurts.
And then you multiply that by all these other different things that were going wrong in the house,
So let me ask you then, in project management, right? So now I'm going to get into the IT side of the world I live in. In project management, you always have your planned budget and then you have your contingency. Mm-hmm. Did you plan a contingency at all, or was it just kind of?
No, not at all. Okay. Again, that was just
figuring it out as you go.
Trying to figure it out, yeah.
And for those who don't know, what Andre's meaning by the contingency, basically he's stating that, let's say the repair cost that he initially evaluated was $60,000. Mm-hmm. He's going to give himself a 10% threshold to make mistakes for the unforeseen. Meaning that now his budget, instead of being 60,000, is 66. Not 66,000. 66,000, because that's the 10% added to it. I got my numbers all jacked up there, but I hope y'all get the frame. Now, as you learned a lot there, and you're moving forward, what do you do differently on the next project?
The next project, I get rid of those guys first and foremost. I kept them. What I did was I went from how I started, and this varies depending on the employees. Some people are paid by the job, some are actually paid by the hour. Okay. Just because, again, I'm more of a custom type of builder. I'm not, again, just a tear it down and put it back up as it was. So I have no choice but to go hourly on some things. But yeah, I just learned to let them bid out the job within my budget, and then that led to my next house where I actually made a profit on. So,
how much profit you make on that one?
It was $22,000, I believe it was.
Gotcha.
It's like a 3-month project.
Still working at Best Buy and UPS?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Woo. All right. Now, how are you managing people and working 2 jobs?
I think that was my downfall in how all that double and triple labor kind of happened in the first place. Because I wasn't there. I definitely was missing work a lot, but not enough. Mm-hmm. To the point where I really,
the slack.
Where they felt like I was the boss, even though I was the boss. But if I'm not there, they don't really feel that sense of we got to do it this way. We got to make sure that we're not just milking the clock, because they could have just been swinging the hammer at the wall, right, not hitting no nails, just doing whatever. So, yeah, I mean, slowly but surely, I definitely, crept away, but still was there essentially. To the point that I probably should have been fired years. Yeah, definitely. Again, I built.
You must have been some type of.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely a great salesman. I brought in, if you're bringing in, again, I worked in Magnolia, and then I went to Pacific Kitchen at Home, which is luxury high-end appliances. So I'm the go-to guy to talk to that millionaire that's spending, $20,000 on a home theater system or $30,000 on a kitchen package. That's just the role that I was placed in just because of the way I carry myself.
Understood. So today, you are now a full-time real estate investor.
Yep.
All right. But, you know, you were juggling 2 jobs and starting a real estate company.
Yep.
What would you do differently if you could give some mentorship advice to that person that's juggling the jobs and trying to get into real estate?
That's tough. I mean, I love where I am.
I'm not saying that.
You know,
but I'm
so
saying,
it's
like,
hard
what would
for
you
me
do
to say.
differently?
I would do more research
On what?
on construction costs, on, you know, what I should be paying someone, what this or that should cost. You know, that would be probably the biggest thing that I would say. Just do more research, because I'm generally a research type of guy. I can almost predict what you're gonna say before you say it, just because I've already paid attention to you, researched you essentially. Yeah. So got to apply that same thing to the business, and, you know, kind of know what's coming before it comes. How
do you come across that information? So if I'm brand new and you're telling me I need to be researching the construction costs, where do I go to find out what it costs?
You get a lot of basic like knowledge from what's those sites that you can Joist, or not Angie List, but Thumbtack. Like, you'll get a lot of knowledge just on the basics, but then also what's a part of research is getting the estimates from multiple people, instead of going with the first guy that says, like, I can do this. You know, so if you got to get 10 estimates, get 10 estimates.
So you might use the sites to get a general sense.
Yep.
And then that way, when you get your first estimate, you can say, where I'm comparing this estimate against the general information that I got.
Yep.
The next estimate just gets you tighter and tighter on, okay, here's what it realistically should cost. Gotcha.
And we got pause real quick. I feel totally disrespected that you asked that man where he get that information. Man, you go to Eric Armstrong, entrepreneur to entrepreneur.com. You hear me? That's where you go to get that information, man. Check us out.
That's perfect.
Hey. Now, I got to ask you, did you research us before coming?
A little bit.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
I was definitely looking a little bit up, you know, earlier today.
I don't care what you found. It's cool. Yeah. All right. So, you got into a partnership. You told me about a big loss you had. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that. Tell the people about that.
That was on that property. You know, we ended up, that was supposed to be, you know, where we both came in basically with 100 apiece. We were supposed to be, that was the max budget, 200, turned in 300. Yeah.
So you grossly underestimated.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. And again, I didn't know nothing about nothing, you know, for the most part. So I had to take that on the chin. And again, I brought him into it. So again, I got a job, and I got my father who has a job. And
man, take that on the chin, my dude. You got ran over.
It is what
100,000 is, man.
It's my fault, you know. So it is what it is. And
I respect
moving,
that,
you know. So, you know, pulled out, refinance on the mortgage. I bought him out of his half, and I made it into a rental property. You know, because it was too expensive for the neighborhood at that time. Yeah. So yeah, it turned into a rental property, rent both sides. You know.
You said something earlier that I really admired, and I want to make sure people get a chance to hear kind of what your vision is. You talked about bringing a certain type of aesthetic to the hood. Can you talk a little bit about that, like as a part of your vision? What is that?
So essentially, especially in the hood that I'm in and just where I come from, you didn't know what a double wall oven was, or induction, a cooktop, period. You know, you just didn't know what nice shiny tile was, you know, like a gloss tile. Like if you had tile, it was some old matte green, yellow type weird stuff. Mm-hmm. So you just didn't know about big bedrooms or en suites for the master bedroom. Like that stuff just didn't exist, you know. So I wanted to be able to bring that to an area that doesn't have it, you know, and then try to be in somewhat reasonable price point. I'm still kind of expensive, but you know, still try to be somewhat, you know, like somewhat reasonable, so that way people can enjoy, you know, the same thing that the rich people enjoy.
Yeah. No, I really like that. That stood out to me, just even in my own personal life, right? If I'm being honest, I experienced two different sets of reality, right? So early on, I was born to 42nd and Post Road, which, is one community. We lived in an apartment. We shared a bedroom. We had government assistance. And then we moved out to Geist, and I'm seeing these beautifully manicured lawns. And I'm like, I don't know anybody that lives like that, right?
Exactly.
So it was just really dope to me to hear you talk about trying to bring that luxury to an area where it doesn't exist, because I think it helps our youth start to imagine themselves living in that type of house.
Exactly. Yep, and that's super important.
I respect that.
On the back end of your work, let's say you were looking for a project today, your next project. What type of margins do you look to make per project?
It's hard to say because I know people that will say they won't touch a house if they're not making $100,000, profit. But me, so for me, I'm in this one neighborhood right now, so I'm not even looking. I'm only looking in this one neighborhood. So, and I always look at things from a value type of mindset too. So if I can end up with, 25 houses in this one neighborhood, and I made 20,000 on each one, I'm happy with that.
Are you trying to buy back the block?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I want to be able to say that. My stamp Lyles construction group is in every sidewalk right now. So yeah, I want to be able to say that I changed this. I want to be able to say that I put in the work to where my kids and grandkids can come back to the same thing and be like, my granddaddy did this. Like I want that to really be, important for them to know that they again can do it too, or just continue what we're already doing with that same stamp.
Gotcha. Now,
so from a margin standpoint, as long as I'm making a profit.
Gotcha. Well, you gotta watch them because them deals get too thin on you.
Yeah, then I just won't buy it at all.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
Well, so what are the goals for your construction company? Now, yeah. Let me go back. You got a construction company, or real estate company.
So I have Lyles Construction Group for the construction side. I have ML Investment Group for my rentals. So
understood. You divided.
Both.
You separated the two for liability purposes.
My accountant said this is what you need to do.
Understood. You got that.
That's not my field. So I'm gonna listen to the lady.
So
hold on, real quick. That's super important. You hired an accountant.
Yes.
You got outside expertise to help you with the financial aspects of managing what it costs to actually run your business.
Oh yeah, because it would be a disaster. Yeah, it would be horrible.
Now, do you have any other mentorship?
No. Like, no.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. Do you see yourself partnering up with anybody in the future to kind of help you scale?
Yeah, from a money aspect, not from a hands-on aspect. I don't like. It's hard for me to even take the advice of my guys that's employed by me. So it's gonna be definitely hard for me to take the advice of somebody that's kind of just standing next to me doing it together. It's tough for me because, again, I care about the people, and most people only care about the money. So it's hard for me to balance that. For me to say, let's not do this because we gonna make an extra $10,000. I'm almost willing to take that $10,000 L to make the end customer happy with my property.
I love it.
Like, I see a problem and I'll be like, oh no, that I can't go for that because my name is on this. Right. Like when I finish the house again, I'm in one neighborhood right now, so the people that bought the house, we talking 5 houses that people can literally walk out the door and say, hey Matthew, this is messed up, or this is messed up, and it's your fault because you just sold me the house last year.
Because you're saying you're working in the same neighborhood where people are living, so they can run up on you.
At any time.
Accessible.
And I'm not doing it just because they can run up on me at any time, but, I still, that's just who I am. I like to do stuff with quality, and I don't know any other way.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, where do you see your company in the next 3 years? You said that you want to back up and put it on autopilot to where your guys can work it. You could have your time and freedom back for family and the things that you enjoy. Where do you see your company at in the next 3 years?
Really just doing more flips in a year. Just hiring more employees, more dedicated employees where, again, I can take, my general contractor, my main guy right now, my project manager right now, and then as well as one other guy that I got on the team, to where those 3 different guys can go manage 3 other properties individually. So now we can get to the point where, we got
tripling
the work ethics, because time really is money, and I do have people that trust in me to the point that, I could probably make a call and get whatever kind of money I want, just because I've developed those relationships, over time, whether it be from Best Buy or my grandparents' friend, just growing up and saw me come up or whatever.
It's your reputation.
So mainly we actually I got an investor that went in to help me with a big subdivision that we're gonna do.
Oh, nice.
So that's like 30 houses.
And you're building all of them?
Yeah, we're gonna build all of them.
That's amazing.
So I want to be able to definitely knock that out within the next 3 years.
That sounds like a lot of work, but it sounds like a dope situation.
Yeah,
you basically get to create your own narrative and comps.
Yeah, exactly.
Solid.
I mean, I love the work. I can't see myself stepping away from the work. I more so just want to see my people do the job just as well as I do it. I really want to see people grow into, to the point that I'm not paying you $25 an hour no more. I'm paying you a salary of $150,000 a year, and you bringing me way more than that. From the work that you put in.
And that's a great way to incentivize. A lot of people though don't always want money. They just want they glorify the position and the responsibilities that you give them.
For sure.
That actually kind of gives them the excitement at work. When you promote like that.
Yeah, and I don't want anybody to come to work every day and be like, I hate working for Matthew Lyles. I want them to really want to come and then grow with the company as well. Because again, there's no limit for me. So I don't want you to look up and you're 60 and you still doing the same thing that you was doing for me 30 years ago.
Got you.
It makes me want to ask this question. Before you got to where you are now, right? Multiple properties in, doing the projects, getting great opportunity. There had to be a point where you transitioned from maybe I can do this to it's really happening. What was that?
I don't know. That point is like every day.
I like that.
It's really surreal, like just to think, what you come from and be like, wow, like
I'm doing this.
When I look back at even like we had the class selections and stuff, and I was one of the people that was selected for most successful.
Okay.
Out of 5 people, and even at that time, I'm selected as most successful because I'm successful amongst my peers, but what is really success and how do I really get there to honor this achievement in high school? So now it's kind of definitely, looking more real. It's definitely looking just every day that goes past and we complete another project and, we learn something new about how to make this just that much nicer or different from the next man's house or, whatever. It's all, it's like I said, it's all surreal. Like,
that's dope. That's dope. Sounds like you living in your dream, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. So I think this is a good point for us to basically let you guys know that here at Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur, we are going to be hosting a mastermind very, very soon. Stay tuned. We're going to post it. We're going to have some real dope stuff going on. We're going to discuss wholesaling and exactly how me and Antonio Lisenby execute acquiring homes. We're going to have some credit guys that are going to give you some tricks and tips to assist you in, basically utilizing your credit and turning it into cash to basically get your first project. To add, we'll be doing a ride along to one of our properties and breaking the deal and doing a deal analysis. Therefore, you could understand how the financing works, how the numbers on the repair costs work, and basically how we, determine ARV and comp. So we're going to basically take a exclusive group of anywhere between 10 to 15 people to join us on a full day so that we could basically empower them and help them get to their first deal, whether it's to be a wholesale deal, a fix and flip, and or a rental property. That being said, Make sure you tap into entrepreneur.entrepreneur.com, and I'll see y'all on the other side.